Welcome in to the Paradox, a brand new format, kind of a brand new format from Poker Battle Network 1. My name is Fish on a Heater, and I am here with one of my bestest casting buddies in the whole wide world, and that is Hurricane Kaz. How you doing?
Hello, Fish. I'm doing great, and I'm so excited to explore this new format. I mean, just seeing the names on the roster really got me excited.
Yeah, we got some really hype names, and can I just say we are in like the coolest place that I think I've ever been in Pokemon wise. Like, where are the Pokestops here? I want to go exploring around here.
I know, right? The lighting is fantastic. There's just rainbows refracting off of everything. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
it's so cool. So we call this place Area Zero, and this is where the battles are going to take place. Here's how it works for those who might not have seen this kind of competition before. So we have two teams that are going head to head, kind of like in factions, 5 players per team, and they'll each play a set of 3 battles. Each battle that each player wins will get them a point for their team. And at the end of the 5 sets of battles, whichever team has the highest score will take home the chocolates, the crown, the title. They will be the champions of the
The
universe.
medals!
The medals
There
of
are medals in the works. I have been informed.
are they actually being sent like
I
legitimate medals?
Yes. Yes, exactly. There will be medals for each player
Wow.
involved. It must be beautiful. We can't wait to see the photos of that come out on the
Yeah, I
internet.
want to see the light refracting off of that as well.
Exactly.
So for today's game, we have Antimatter Gaming versus SoCal Swablu, and as I mentioned before, there are a lot of really recognizable names on this list. Who stands out to you, Kaz?
Well, I mean, there's so many good ones, but Dre Flames is probably one of the more recognizable ones right now, having made it to day 2 in Sacramento very recently. But I also know that Ko is a Beast runs the Flash for Everyone tournaments, which are
Mhm.
a good time every month with brand new metas, and anyone can join in.
Mhm. Yeah, CO is one of those guys that's just like he's ever present. He like for the like he's always keeping an eye on chats and like chiming into
Yeah,
the joke as well. And he's also a really good battler. I've faced against him a couple of times.
amazing.
Fantastic with his energy
Yeah.
management.
I got to meet him for the first time in Knoxville, I believe, last year, and saw his battles live, while he was being featured on the streams. And yeah, very talented and some spicy picks as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to give a shout out to Flying Pizza on SoCal Swablu's side. He's someone that my first interaction with him was just he happened to be in like my back when Sylph was still going. He happened to be in my local server. We faced against
Hmm.
each other for the first time. I didn't realize at the time that he was on the first page of the Sylph leaderboard at that time. And so like I'd been smashing it all month, and then he just comes in and just get easy 3-0. And I'm like, oh cool. Well, uh,
Easy, easy
yeah,
GGs.
yeah. So he just wiped the floor with me there, and I did hear he did very well in one regional recently. He's also he's also been 17-0 as a Master League player
Hmm.
in Battle Frontier, was it in
Which
like the
oh, in
like
Silk
the
Factions, I believe.
back
Yeah.
back when it was in factions. So yeah, Flying Pizza, one of those players that doesn't have like a big name yet, but absolutely you should.
Exactly. Yeah, and I also am very familiar with the 6'4" Ninja, who often works as like a judge in a lot of events and helps out
Mhm.
in the tournament circuit as well. Very talented and a very good analyst when I've had the opportunity to cast with him as well.
All right. So along with the format of how the players interact with each other, we've
Hmm.
also got some extra rules in that no player can on each team can have the same Pokemon. So, for example, if the 6'4"
Hmm.
Ninja was to pick a Swampert for his team, then Doctor Roast Beef couldn't have a Swampert either, or any similar form. Can't have a Shadow, can't have a Mega
Yeah.
Swampert. Megas are allowed, but no
Woo!
no
Oh
other
my
forms
god.
of that same Pokemon.
Ooh,
And,
Don't
and
get
there
don't
are
get me
also
all don't get me all hyped about megas. It'd be so exciting to
I
see.
shouldn't have put
It'd
it
be so
out there.
exciting. It'd be so exciting to see one on the screen. Please, someone.
Um, so, along with that, each team gets the opportunity to ban 5 Pokemon
Hmm.
just to try, like to attempt to open up the meta a little bit more. Because we know what Great League can be like. The same
Yeah.
Pokemon can be seen over and over again. So we try and give the players opportunities to take out those things that they just don't want to see. If one team bans a Pokemon, then it is banned for both sides. So
Exactly.
there is opportunity that some teams might pick the same Pokemon, and that's fine. That just means there's one less ban. So let's check out what the bans are for this setup.
Yeah, and there are a couple things that immediately stand out to me before we get into our outside analysis. Frostlass being banned from SoCal Swablu is an interesting pick because it's been on the rise a lot in the Play Pokemon tournament circuit lately, and we all know how dangerous Frostlass can be. So it's not a super prevalent Pokemon as of yet, but it's an interesting pick to ban for sure.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that, and it's a shame because I think Frostlass is a pretty fun Pokemon, so I would have liked to see some Frostlass action. Unfortunately, not to be. However, I'm not going to give the rest of my thoughts because we have brought in outside help. We have an expert here that will be getting his thoughts on the bans. Please welcome in MJ. Get it?
We're in the paradox now. Welcome to the Paradox. First match tonight, we got SoCal Swablu versus Antimatter Gaming. And for SoCal Swablu, representing them, we got Dre Flames, Flying Pizza, Mystic Mamba, Quasar Sucks, and Dodger 22 Fan. And for Antimatter, there's the 6'4 Ninja, Dr. Roast Beef, Ilex Force, OHIO baby, EV2E, and CO is a beast. I messed up the order of that name or of those names. You saw them in a different order on Twitter. That's the order we're going to go by. That's who you see them matched up with is who they're going to be playing. We're going to have Dre Flames versus the 6'4 Ninja. It's going to be Mystic Mama versus Dr. Roast Beef. CO is a beast versus Quasar Sucks. Flying Pizza versus Ilex Force. EV2E versus Dodger 22 Fan. And while we're at it, let's talk about that matchup right there. EV2E and Dr. 22 and Dodger 22 Fan. They both got some real spice, well, kind of spice on their team. Dodger 22 rocking the Charger Bug. EV2E out here rocking the Nidorina. And ooh-wee, I feel like that's going to be a good one right there. That Nidorina is either going to pay big dividends for Antimatter, or it's going to totally give them that 0-3 hold they're not looking to get into. Because that first matchup, which might not even be the first matchup, probably will be the last matchup. Because I'm looking at this Shadow Quagsire over here on Dre Flames' team. And maybe it has Aqua Tail. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it won't even factor into the match. Because looking at both these two guys' teams, Dre Flames' team and the 6'4 Ninjas team, it might literally come down to the Toxapex versus the Shadow Poliwrath. The Shadow Poliwrath looking pretty dominant. You don't really know what it's going to run. I mean, you might want to run the counter. But hey, Bubble could do some damage here. Plus, you got Power Punch, Dynamic Punch. This Pokemon is suffering from a 4TM syndrome, and we're not even playing in the main series games. Whereas Dre Flames, that Toxapex is right there to just beat the crap out of that Poliwrath if he sees it. But knowing how Dre battles, like, he's looking to open up a can of whoop ass on everybody. Just throw out that Shadow Machamp with cross chop, you know, like, hey, I haven't felt that before. I'm still not steaming about that 3-0 loss I had on the last time me and him battled with that damn. Anyway, back to the matches. Anywho, so those two matchups are really going to be fun to watch. EV2E's Nidorina being the key factor in his match versus Dodger 22 Fan and Dre Flames versus 6'4 Ninja being a clash of styles. One trainer having like bulky Pokemon that can hit really hard, and the other one having a nice little hot mix of high octane offense that could just build upon each other, and the other two and other Pokemon having like you know what I'm trying to say, bulk. But let's look at the other three battles while we're out here. Mystic Mamba and Dr. Roast Beef kind of just building upon each other. I see Bastiodon and Steelix. That while we're on this, because I'm just running through this, let's talk about some of the bands. Like in this match and probably in the next one, you're not going to see Medicham. You're not going to see Registeel. You're not going to see Lickitung. I think for these matches, SoCal Swablu banned Frostlass. Were they banned? Yeah, they banned Frostlass, Carbink, and Gligar and Lantern along with their Medicham. And Antimatter Gaming went along with the regular bans of Sableye, Registeel, Medicham, Lickitung. and Gligar. And if you take a look at the other three battles, especially Quasar Sucks and COS Beast, you can kind of see, hey, no Gligar, no problem. Both those trainers, Quasar and COS Beast, rocking the Mandibuzz. Both of them got their own little counter user. One has a Scratchy, the other has a Vigoroth. They both have a bulky water outside of Jellicent. They both also have Jellicent. In Mantine and Dugong, it's just looking like it's going to be a fun little mirror match between those two. Whoever can do best work there. Flying Peace and Ilex Force, let me go ahead and give you the hint on that. That can get out of hand real quick, knowing how these two battlers fight, especially Ilex. He can bring the pain. He's probably going to have, he has something in store. I know he has something in store for you. Maybe a surprise, might not be Wing Attack Charizard. Could be a Dragon Breath Charizard. Might not be a Mudshot Swampert. Might be a Water. It's a Mudshot Water. It's a Mudshot Swampert. I'm not even going to try to BS out on that. Like, who's going to be crazy enough to run a Water Gun Swampert? Anywho, that's what we got for you tonight. Big matchups happening tonight. Just sit back and relax. I'm watching these matches with you, doing the best I can to keep up with all the action, while also getting prepared for the other match that's coming up between Muddy Water and Legends United. Peace.
Thank you, MJ. And that will... straight away we are into... And we're not into it anymore.
Well, a quick pause from production so that we can talk about these two teams for just a sec, as we are just getting into these team screens ourselves. And I have to talk about, obviously, the bird on the screen first. Pidgeot over there on the 6'4 Ninja side. An amazing pick. Very versatile Pokemon, and with access to not only Wing Attack but also Brave Bird, can be incredibly strong. And I think it has a lot of play over there against Drayflames. What do you see, Fish?
So just a quick extra comment on the Pidgeot. So I have seen a little bit of support for Aerial Ace over Feather Dance as the second move. What do you think about that, Kaz?
I played Aerial Ace Pidgeot in, I believe it was the Sunshine Cup in GBL recently, just because having a move that you can get to not only as a bait, but that does actual damage instead of like Feather Dance, which does really nothing to nobody. It actually made it quite successful in that meta for me. And then, like I said, the nuke option of Brave Bird is just chef's kiss.
For me, I am looking at the Toxapex on Drayflame's side. I think that the 6'4 Ninja has nothing against that Toxapex. Like, even the Galvantula. The Galvantula can do quite well against it, but with shields up, I think the Toxapex might have it. That power of that Poison Jab might overcome that as well. So 6'4 might be relying on the Galvantula to quell that threat.
Exactly. And we see a decent amount of shadows on each team as well. 3 on Drayflame's side and 2 on the 6'4 Ninja's side, going for some heavy extra damage there, especially Shadow Charizard.
All right, let's get into the battles. I'm keen to get into this first match. Drayflames versus 6'4 Ninja. We see, the Walrein versus the Charizard. Now, this is a bit of a scary match for the Charizard with shields up, but what it normally does is it builds up a little bit of energy, throws a move, and then switches out, and that is what is going to be happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. This is kind of a surprisingly equal matchup, but the bait is pretty obvious here to anyone that's been watching Charizard in the play Pokemon circuit. And Walrein actually throws this Icicle Spear onto a Shadow Quagsire that comes in from Drayflames, doing, oh my gosh, that is a surprising amount of damage, and has another one loaded now.
Yeah, many people forget that Icicle Spear was buffed in like one of the more recent moveset updates, so it does a lot of damage now. So that the third Icicle Spear is going to come through. It's going to get the second shield from the Quagsire. So Drayflame's putting a lot of faith into this Quagsire that's going to have to try and Stone Edge its way through the Walrein. Mud Bomb might not have been enough, so going for the safer option of the Stone Edge, and 6'4 Ninja not shielding that, letting the Walrein go.
Yeah, and now that the wall rain has come down, I mean, this Pidgeot comes in from the 6-4 Ninja, but is in kind of a tough spot because the Shadow Quagsire is already at another Stone Edge, and we do see a shield come up from the 6-4 Ninja to protect that bird and possibly farm all the way down and get a ton of extra energy. All shields are down, so whatever comes in next is going to have to face a Brave Bird.
Yeah, and that Pidgeot with Brave Bird is no joke. Toxapac's one of the few things in the meta that can handle a Brave Bird from Pidgeot. So we'll see how much this does do. Will it take it into the yellow? Not quite.
No,
So
not quite.
that
Oh
is
my
one
goodness.
tanky boy. Now the Galvantula is going to come in, and it's going to be a race. The Blast Burn does get there before the discharge, and that Blast Burn will wipe Galvantula
my
off the face of the planet. That's what I'd now do with my spiders back home, is just set fire to them. Here comes the Pidgeot back out, and is going to be able to wing attack that Charizard down. But as we've seen, it's going to take more than a Brave Bird here to KO this Toxapex. So first of all,
we do see this Pidgeot is running that aerial ace, so is going to throw that move first before the debuffing move of Brave Bird, which now will be able to knock out even the chunky Toxapex.
My spiders back home is just so the 6-4 Ninja playing that Pidgeot beautifully, even though that Brave Bird didn't do enough to take the Toxapex into the yellow, just gained a little bit of energy, got it into range of the aerial ace and then the Brave Bird, and that finished it off. Wonderfully played.
I mean, getting all that extra energy onto the Pidgeot in that matchup with Quagsire, where the Mudshot pass attack from Quagsire is doing absolutely nothing, but the wing attacks from Pidgeot are adding up. All of that extra energy is definitely what the 6-4 Ninja needed. And now we see the complete opposite situation of what we saw in the last game. Galvantula from the 6-4 Ninja in the lead against Shadow Charizard from Dre Flames. And this is, much like the last matchup, this is kind of an equal field, like when shields are even. So we do see Charizard throwing the bait move of Dragon Claw first, getting that first shield.
See, I think it's a bit unfortunate because the way that was played out. Oh, excellent catch there of the discharge. But unfortunately, that Charizard didn't get up as much. Well, it got up a bunch of energy and then wasn't able to use it because those Volt Switches KO'd at first. So now it's going to be Umbreon versus Pidgeot. This is a bit of a bulky matchup than what we had at the start of the battle with Galvantula versus Charizard.
Yeah. I feel like the last matchup was a little bit of glass on glass with some like one tank on each team, but this time we have a much thicker matchup here in the middle. And interestingly, this Umbreon from Dre Flames is on Psychic and Foul Play as opposed to the usual Foul Play and Last Resort. So able to do a little bit of extra damage there and still has extra energy to throw yet another Foul Play.
So this Pidgeot and this Umbreon right now are just trading moves back and forth. I think that that Pidgeot is within range of one more Foul Play, but this Umbreon might be in range of one more Brave Bird. Looks like the Umbreon is going to blink first. No, the Aerial Ace comes out, so called. The bait was called.
Yeah, a great call from Dre Flames there, not using their shield, and this next Aerial Ace is enough to take out the Umbreon, and the Pidgeot has to leave the field before it can get farmed down by the incoming Toxapex.
So here's where that matchup against the Charizard comes in real handy for the 6-4 Ninja, because it's now got a fair amount of energy, and it can employ that energy against this Toxapex, which is the only Pokemon left on Dre Flames' side. Luckily for Dre Flames, that Toxapex is able to build up, to Poison Jab down, the Galvantula, before it can get off an extra discharge. And so the Galvantula is going to do a good job in burning those shields. But now Toxapex has to deal with the rest of the team all on Sloadsome.
But I think it was a great play from the 6-4 Ninja to actually use Lunge as that last attack from Galvantula so that you are lowering the attack power of this Toxapex against the, the 6-4 Ninja's final Pokemon of the Shadow Walrein. And now that all shields are out of play, the Walrein has the Earthquake and will be able to throw against this Toxapex and take it off the field.
Yeah, beautifully done. So here I was at the start of the matchup going like, oh yeah, I mean, you're just relying on Galvantula. Like, that's all you can do, right? But so far, we've had battle one.
You forgot about the power of the bird.
The bird is the word, so I've heard.
Exactly.
That was a win for Antimatter Gaming, and now this is a good lead for 6-4 Ninja with the fighter versus the Umbreon now. Umbreon is running that Psychic. The 6-4 Ninja doesn't know that. So may this be a sneak attack from the Umbreon. We're not going to see a shield.
No shield on
How
this
much damage?
Shadow Poliwrath, and it does over 50% of damage. And now Toxapex comes in while Poliwrath leaves with a ton of energy. And this is that matchup you were talking about where both Pokemon are doing pretty good, solid damage to one another with their fast attacks alone. But Galvantula is the faster of the two and throws a discharge, forcing the first shield from this Toxapex.
We'll see if 6-4 Ninja can do the same thing as last time, where they're throwing one discharge and then a lunge in the second one. We'll see what option they go for. Maybe Stray Flames will be onto that one. They might not want to use that second shield. We are going for the discharge for this second move, and Dray Flames calling that one, either thinking that it might be a lunge or just thinking, Toxapex is fine. It doesn't need
but
this.
Toxapex just barely survives and gets off the brine, which I think at this health range isn't going to be enough to take the Galvantula out.
Wow, and that's important switch advantage for the 6-4 Ninja. That Poliwrath is going to come back out, and oh no.
Oh my god.
Dray Flames has two Pokemon left that are very weak to fighting, and here comes a dynamic punch from Poliwrath, which is going unsure. Oh no, shield at the last second.
At last second, shield was a very smart call from Dray Flames. Now there is an Ice Punch catch onto the Umbreon. Oh no, it's not an Ice Punch. It is the Dynamic Punch again, and that is just barely not enough to take out the Umbreon, but just a few fast attacks from the Pidgeot are. And now Pidgeot and the Ferrothorn are at pretty equal pacing. This is going to be a photo finish between the two.
This was a tough one because I think that will KO, but that's the thing. Yeah, KOs. So Dray Flames was trying to wait because he knew that a Thunder on its own would not have been enough to KO the Pidgeot. So was hoping against hope that the 6-4 Ninja could throw a Brave Bird and that would debuff it, and that the Ferrothorn would survive. That was the important thing, and then he could get the Thunder to KO that afterwards. Unfortunately, not to be. Those wing attacks did too much damage and put it into range of that Brave Bird to finish it off.
Yeah, exactly. The 6-4 Ninja demonstrating just why Pidgeot is also an incredibly good bird that often goes unrecognized next to some of its flying counterparts. But I think the most recent move update, having knocked out of some of the top meta Pokemon picks, leaves a lot of room for Pidgeot to fly free.
Yeah. I think the only thing that is stopping Pidgeot from getting the widespread recognition that it probably deserves is the fact that it's got no coverage. So if it's against a steel-type Pokemon, then often it just doesn't have any tools to face that. But, if you can bring it into a battle and not let it get locked in against the steel-type, it's so good.
Yeah, and even then, I mean, that is a case for Feather Dance. The fact that you can just neutralize the opponent so much with a debuffing attack can also come in handy, especially if you're going to be, go out anyway. But the Dray Flames absolutely did their best with their team picks there. Toxapex coming in strong, as you called as well. But I think that with that 3-0 from the 6-4 Ninja, we are ready for our next set of teams.
Let's check it out. All right, we have Mystic Mamba versus Dr. Roast Beef. We see one of my favorite Pokemon on Dr. Roast Beef's side, and that is the Charjabug. Charjabug, nice little... Yeah, you're a fan too?
Yes, huge fan. I loved it in Halloween Cup, and especially getting access to that Volt Switch fast attack in the most recent, one of the most recent now, Community Days, for the Grubbin, its pre-evolution. Made it so good. Unbelievably good.
It's amazing how much that one move did for the Pokemon.
Exactly.
Funny story, I did not know when Community Day happened that you needed an Elite TM for Volt Switch. So I caught a rank 1 Charjabug and didn't evolve it into the Charjabug because I'm like, I'll just evolve it when I need it, right?
Oh my god.
And then, yeah.
The tragedy.
So
But the
Elite
the
TM was burned.
The Charjabug does look good, but I also really actually like the Tapu Fini over there on Mystic Mamba's side. The power of the water gun fast attack really adds up, even on something like Charjabug.
Yeah, absolutely. Tapu Fini, I think, is like just a more fun Azumarill. It's not as
Exactly.
good. Doesn't get the
Yeah.
win. Like Azumarill just gets a lot of wins just through the
Yeah.
power of its bulk.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tapu Fini, like a lot of fun to play, and if you can get an energy advantage on it, then it can really do a lot of work there.
Mhm. Yeah,
All right, should we? Yes.
I also like the Venusaur pick, which is another one that we've kind of seen rising up now that Lantern has been like not really debuffed at all. You know, in the latest move update, so we need more grass to counter it. So seeing Venusaur is always fun for me as well.
I think Venusaur might be the safest pick on Mystic Mamba's side. Maybe the Dugong as well, but Venusaur has play against, like, even the Charjabug. Like a Shadow can take a Charjabug out, and I think 2 Frenzy Plants plus some Vine
Exactly.
Whips. So
Yeah.
all right, so you ready to see the battles?
I am so ready. Let's get into it.
All right, we are right into it. We have
There's that Shadow Venusaur
ooh.
against the Lurantis.
So this isn't a good start for Lurantis. Lurantis has a lot of really nice tools against a lot of great things, but not against the Venusaur. Now, it is running a bug move, which I've never seen on a Lurantis. Is that an X-Scissor?
Yeah, X-Scissor actually does a surprisingly amount, even though it is neutral against the Shadow Venusaur, and not necessarily super effective, and definitely not stab damage from Lurantis. But it does. We do see that Venusaur is already quite low on health, and it does force the first shield from the Lurantis before Lurantis can get to the next move.
Yeah, so that's an interesting idea from Dr. Roast Beef. I'm wondering how that affects the matchup against the Bastiodon now, because like Leaf Blade will be neutral, but surely it doesn't have the bulk to be able to stand up to it. We won't be seeing that this battle though, because that Sludge Bomb is going to come through and just pulverize that, just melt Lurantis. Yeah. So now the next Pokemon's going to come out. The Charjabug is going to just Volt Switch this Venusaur down, get up a little bit of extra energy, which is going to be really handy for it.
Yeah, exactly. As we do see the 2 Pokemon remaining for Mystic Mamba, both have, do not want to see the damage from this Charjabug, especially now that it has a ton of extra energy. These X-Scissors are going to hit for quite a bit. Deoxys Defense Form is very tanky, doesn't have to shield the first one, but we see that that's like 50% from one X-Scissor, and the other one is already incoming.
Yeah, that's huge. And it gets to those X's so fast. It's 3 for the first one and then 2 for the second. Oh, we'll have to shield this Rock Slide potentially. Well, I mean, it will just survive, so let's see.
Yeah. I mean, Deoxys Defense Form doesn't have the same attack as some of its other forms, so Charjabug is able to survive one of those Rock Slides with enough energy in place to get to the discharge against this Dugong.
Charjabug is so busted. It should not be allowed.
Yeah, Bug Bust goes beep beep. Oh my gosh, is that a Thunderfang Steelix?
That is a Thunderfang Steelix. You can only see a Thunderfang Steelix in a format like this, Kaz. That is just the perfect thing to have in this specific matchup. That Thunderfang is going to be chunking away at that HP. The Drill Run is going to come out. It's not going to KO by a long stretch of the imagination. So it's going to have to get up to another Drill Run. But let's see what this Thunderfang Steelix can do first. It does get to the Earthquake, and there are no shields left on Mystic Mamba's side. So that Dugong is going to be out of here.
Oh my gosh, that is so much damage. Dugong is another tanky Pokemon, but just cannot take that many Thunderfangs. Oh my gosh, you're right. Only in a meta like this would we be able to do something like that.
So that's another win for Antimatter Gaming, and they are off to a hot start. That is 4-0, or 47-0. Wow, that's a real hot start.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a lead, just a teeny tiny bit.
We're gonna be here a while. to make that
And
happen.
now we're getting into the next game, and we see a completely different matchup. Mantine from Dr. Roastbeef comes out against Altaria from Mystic Mamba. It feels like forever since I've seen an Altaria on my screen in Pokemon Go battles. And now the Mantine does have access to Ice Beam, which will significantly threaten this flying dragon.
Yeah, and Mystic Mamba choosing to respect the Ice Beam, so trying to get up as much damage as it can. Out comes the Thunder Fang Steelix once again, and here's a matchup that doesn't particularly mind the Thunder Fang, but will mind the Psychic Fangs.
Exactly. This matchup for Shadow Venusaur is made a little bit better by that Thunder Fang, but yeah, we see how much damage the Psychic attack does. Oof.
So Vine Whip's doing a fair amount of damage on their own, so we'll see how much the Frenzy Plant does from the Shadow Venusaur onto the Steelix. Dr. Roast Beef deciding, no, I got this, it's in the bag, does manage to survive, and gets to that Psychic Fangs, which will KO the Venusaur if unshielded.
Yeah, and we do see that Venusaur is low enough on health that Mystic Mama chooses to let it go. We'll be able to get a little bit of extra farm off of whatever comes in. Will it be the Altaria, which already has some energy, or the Deoxys?
It's tough because he knows that the Altaria is going to have to face that Mantine when it comes back in. So it's and he's already a shield down as well, so he might be needing to just sacrifice the Altaria in the end. Is going to throw off an Sky Attack. Maybe we'll switch straight out afterwards to try and preserve that thing, see if it can do some damage in the end game. We do get the shield on the Mantine side, and the Altaria is staying in.
Yeah, the Altaria is staying in, and we see that waiting in the back is actually not a great matchup for Mystic Mamba's Deoxys, because what's lurking back there but that Charjabug once again.
Yeah, the Charjabug is going to be able to destroy this Deoxys, as we saw in that first battle. Not even the Rock Slide will be able to finish the job on the Deoxys' side. Deoxys?
Yeah.
Deoxys?
Deoxys? Deoxize? that's a debate. That's a debate for our chat. Let us know your multiple Deoxys preference. But now we see another Rock Slide coming out from this defense form Deoxys, which the Charjabug does choose to give up the first shield. Now we've already seen 2 X Scissors come out from Charjabug, and we do see this Bug Bus going beep beep all the way to another 2 X Scissors ready for the defense form Deoxys, but no shield on the side of Mystic Mamba, choosing to put all of their faith now in the Altaria with a shield.
Yeah, and I like that. There is 1 shield left on the opponent's side. You've got to get the energy up. That's like, you're not going to be able to finish the job with just Dragon Breaths alone. So you need to get up that damage. Unfortunately, that Charjabug is just getting to those charge attacks way too quickly, is forced to throw that Sky Attack, and that is probably going to spell the end for Mystic Mamba for this battle.
Yeah, the Charjabug just barely survived with like 1 HP there, so they were able to swap out to the Mantine, which has energy, throwing now the Aerial Ace from the Mantine, and has another one ready now. So the Altaria, even with the sheer power of Dragon Breath, not able to withstand this neutral attack damage.
5-0, Kaz.
Antimatter is just on fire in these early matchups with some spicy picks. I really like the energy management there from Dr. Roast Beef. I mean, not only with the Mantine in the lead, like getting a lot of extra energy from that lead matchup, but also keeping Charjabug in the back, able to get to those attacks super quickly.
Yeah, and energy management is pretty easy to do when you're running a Charjabug. Okay, so this matchup isn't as bad as it could be, because that Felix is running Thunderfang instead of Dragon Tail, but it still isn't great. Those Dragon Breaths are resisted, and now the Psychic Fangs is going to make it even easier for the Thunderfangs to whittle the health down.
Yeah, exactly, because the Thunder Fang is neutral damage, whereas the Dragon Breath is actually resisted by Steelix. So we do see Altaria swap out there with energy still intact. And now we see a matchup we're very familiar with at this point between these two battlers. The Charjabug on the Deoxys defense form, and of course Charjabug already has energy to throw at the the strong Psychic type here.
This Deoxys cannot catch a break. The Deoxys keeps coming out, and it keeps getting met by that Bug Bus, and it's like, come on, it's my first day.
Beep, beep, coming through.
Yeah. So the Psycho Boost is going to come out. That Charge Bug is at a low enough HP range that the Psycho Boost will KO, and Deoxys finally did actually manage to catch a break, but now it's been double attack dropped, and those counters, while super effective, Deoxys keeps coming out,
not going to be doing that much.
Yeah, I mean, the charge attacks here are also both resisted by the Steelix, so I mean, Steelix knows that it can come into this matchup and get just a lot of extra energy from this Deoxys, since those counters, although super effective, are not, do not have the stab, the same type attack bonus backing them up. So, so able to throw a Psychic Fangs against this Altaria as it comes in, which doesn't do a lot, but does actually lower the defense so that, those Thunder Fangs can start chipping away more and more.
So this is a bit of a tough situation, because I think maybe Mystic Mamba might have called that there might be a Mantine in the back, but then both Pokemon that Mystic Mamba has remaining are weak to the Mantine, so maybe going to bring in this Venusaur and then going to see the bad news. There's that Mantine, which is getting to the aerial aces in 5 wing attacks, which is quicker than what the Venusaur can get to its moves.
Yeah, exactly. And this Mantine is running that aerial ace, as you mentioned, instead of a bubble beam. So it is able to actually put some flying attack pressure onto this grass type Pokemon, and it hurts. It hurts to see that for the Venusaur, which is normally, such a strong Pokemon when it has the extra energy. But here, it just cannot take all of this super effective damage.
Yeah, it's tough. It's putting in a valiant effort, but that Mantine's still not even in the yellow with all that Vine Whip damage.
Yeah, and now the Mantine has 2 aerial aces ready, whereas Venusaur is just now getting to its 3rd Frenzy Plant. Good gracious.
Well, hello.
And
hello.
This does actually land.
Hello.
It does actually land, and I think it is enough to KO. Oh my gosh, you never thought you'd
just
see
happened?
It. You never thought you'd see it on the screen, but Venusaur, with that extra shadow damage, able to actually take out the Mantine there.
Wow. So, there's like an extra tap in there or something? Because that shouldn't have gotten to that extra Frenzy Plant.
Yeah, I think maybe there was perhaps an over tap from Dr. Roast Beef, maybe getting an extra wing attack instead of throwing the aerial ace on the proper timing. The matchups between battlers at this level, sometimes you feel like it's a blink and you miss it sort of moment.
Wow. So can we say that the score is 5.5 to 0.5? Because that was just stolen from the jaws of defeat. That was an incredible comeback from Mystic Mamba.
SoCal Swablu has to do something, right? They got to start pulling out all the stops, all the concrete, get out of the way, because they are coming in with 1 point now against Antimatter's 5. So so I do think that we'll start seeing even more crazy plays than that one, so buckle up, fish.
There are 3 more matchups to go through, so there is plenty of opportunity. Let's see what match number 3 will be. That is Quasar versus CO is a Beast. CO is a Beast running a bit of a blast from the past in the Shadow Nidoqueen.
Oh, yeah, interesting. That's such a fun pick. I mean, we did see Poison Jab get kind of rebuffed, in one of the more recent move updates. So Nidoqueen has actually come back into popularity quite a bit. And we do see over there on Quasar side, I'm sorry, I was looking at the Scrafty because I was like, wait, is that a Shadow Scrafty? How is that even possible? But I do think there was just a little bit of a misedit there. So the Scrafty is an interesting pick, able to do quite a bit of damage, I think, against CO Isby's team. If it can stack those pup bonuses, the power up punch bonuses, along with the super effective foul play that it can land on Jellicent and the Cresselia.
Interesting question. Charm or Powder Snow on the A9?
Ooh, that is a really good question. I mean, I think that both have their place against different members of CO as a Beast team. But I do think that if it's a non-shadow Alolan Ninetales, then it's more likely to be on Powder Snow. The ability of Powder Snow to get to the charge attacks faster, I think, is far more valuable for the non-shadow version.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how that matchup against the Nidoqueen goes with Powder Snow, since Nidoqueen
Much
got
better.
that much better.
Much-
Yeah,
yeah,
well, much better than
much-
Charm for sure.
Yeah, because the Powder Snow does allow you to outpace the Nidoqueen to your Weather Ball. So even though Poison Jab is doing super effective damage, and it stacks up very quickly, you can get to those Weather Balls much faster than the Nidoqueen can get to the Poison Fang.
So you can get to your second Weather Ball on the A9 before you get like defense dropped and Poison Jab down?
I'm not sure if you can get to 2 if
Okay.
if one of the poison jabs lands, right? If you have shield
the
advantage,
Poison
I think
Fang?
it makes that poison fang.
Yeah.
I think that if you have the shield advantage, it makes that a much better matchup for Alolan Ninetales.
I'd be very interested to see that matchup in action, which we haven't done in many seasons.
Yeah, well, let's see if we can make it happen here on our screens. Oh no, we have no video on one side, and Construction Hat Oshawott very disappointed in all of us with his clipboard. But we do have at least one video on the other side showing Dugong from Quasasucks against the Galarian Stunfisk over there on CO as a B side, which I believe our graphic might... Wait. No, I'm reading it backwards.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So I think this is right. Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
shiny...
I was very distracted by Construction Hat Oshawott.
Construction Hat Oshawott was not pleased with the lack of video.
Very
Is
sorry.
going to be writing to his supervisor. So okay, the Dugong is so CO not shielding anything from the Galarian Stunfisk, which is unusual to see from a Dugong. Usually they... Oh wow! I did not even see that catch. So that drill run would have either forced a shield, not forced a shield, that would have pressured a shield or taken a lot of HP off of that Galarian Stunfisk. But unfortunately, it's just landing hopelessly onto a Jellicent. Now, Quasasucks does have the luxury of bringing in the Mantine, which is able to build up a lot of energy and then unleash some of it to KO that Jellicent.
Yeah. The Mandibuzz here is in a incredibly good position against the Jellicent, which can barely hit this very bulky bird. So we do see an Aerial Ace coming out, trying to preserve some extra energy on the Mandibuzz for whatever ends up coming in the backline.
I'm not sure I'm a fan of that, because you're still needing to get to that second move. You can't just snarl down from there. So, and you obviously just lose CMP there as well. So you are losing a fair amount of your health.
Yeah, but Mandibuzz has like the health to spare. Look
It's
at
got
that.
a lot of health going around. Right?
Has the health to spare, gets 2 extra snarls in there, so it has the Dark Pulse and or the Aerial Ace ready for whatever comes in, which I believe was the Galarian Stunfisk coming back in. So now faced with a Dark Pulse, it doesn't hurt a whole lot, but I think Mandibuzz is able to get to another one against this Galarian Stunfisk, because those mud shots are just doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, we'll see how low this takes her. We do get the shield from the G-Fisk, and now is that G-Fisk going to just try and farm down?
No.
Surely not. No.
Good gracious, then we'd be here all night.
Yeah, right.
He's not that rude.
Yeah, that thing still had a bit too much HP left to do that. Now we see the next move coming out. I believe it's it doesn't have enough for an Earthquake. You can't Rock Slide and Earthquake at the same time. So you can't have enough energy for both of those.
Oh my god.
So, now here comes CO's own Mandibuzz into Quasasucks' Jellicent. That's something we didn't mention earlier, is that there is a lot of similarity between the two teams.
Yeah, is that while picking one Pokemon for your team means that the rest of your teammates can't use it, you might still have an opponent that has that Pokemon. It's not necessarily. Oh my gosh. That Mandibuzz just farmed that Dugong all the way down. But now we see the Jellicent from CO as a Beast side stuck against Mandibus in the exact opposite of the position they felt so strongly in earlier.
But I'm actually finding this really interesting because Quasar sucks. Sorry, not to. So CO as a Beast, sorry, did bring in the Dugong to debuff the Mandibuzz before the Jellicent did its thing, and now it's also got two shields to hide behind. So we'll see how this plays it out. Like Quasar Sucks does have the Dark Pulse there. Is now going to switch out to reset that debuff. The Jellicent is going to build up as much energy as it can before throwing the Surf, which should KO the G-Fisk, and then has to try and get to enough energy to be able to KO the Mandibuzz afterwards.
Ooh, but the Mandibuzz left with energy, and now without that attack debuff in play, I do think this Dark Pulse is enough to take out the Jellicent from CO's side. My good, and the timer just barely came up there at the end.
Wow, yeah. Construction Hat Oshawott was pleased with the outcome of that battle.
Yes, very by the books.
So that is 2-5. So SoCal Swablu is now going to claw their way back. They're going to attempt to claw their way back to a winning position here against Antimatter Gaming. It is 1-0 in this matchup. Let's see how Quasar Sucks can continue their form. We do see the Dugong again in the lead into a Scrafty.
Oh, once again, the exact matchup that Dugong does not want to see in the lead before it can even get the Icy Wind debuff off, immediately leaving so that the Mandibuzz can start charging up a little bit of extra energy. Without being on Air Slash, this Mandibuzz is left in a little bit of a tight spot even against this Scrafty.
Yeah, and I'm very interested to see what Quasar Sucks has in the back now, because they're not switching this Scrafty out, which means either they have things in the back that can handle the Dugong, or they just don't have anything that can take on this Mandibuzz, so it's having to try and rely on this Scrafty.
Yeah, and meanwhile, this Scrafty is throwing power-up punch after power-up punch and getting so many attack buffs and so much energy that even this bulky Mandibuzz is getting quite low on health.
And look at how dangerous this is for CO as a Beast in the back. They've got two Pokemon that are pretty weak to. One's weak to the foul play and one's weak to the fighting moves. So this is a dangerous situation. Luckily for CO as a Beast, Quasar does not seem to be shielding any of those moves.
Yeah. Oh, we do finally get a shield from Quasar Sucks to protect all the extra energy and the attack buffs on this Scrafty. And like you said, neither one of these Pokemon really want to see this Scrafty on the opposing side.
So I think this is a smarter decision. Those counters being like 17 times buffed will do so much damage to the Dugong before it can Ice Shard down. So at least in this situation, you can take the double resisted counters. You will have to shield one foul play, but then you can just farm down yourself and you've got a whole bunch of energy on your side. However, I think I know what's going to come out now on the other side, and that is the Mandibuzz.
Oh, and here we see a Jellicent come out now from in the back from Quasar Sucks. This is a kind of neutral matchup, but the Jellicent is in the better position here, able to do, attack, like its stab attack bonus of with the hexes and the shadow ball against this Dugong, whereas Dugong can only keep throwing as many drill runs as possible.
Yeah, and we also have the answer to the question of why is Quasar Sucks staying in with the Scrafty. It was for this situation. So Quasar knew that they could win switch advantage back against the Mandibuzz, knew that with Snarl, the Scrafty did have the advantage there. So did spend one shield to maintain alignment, and now has this Jellicent, which is able to really comfortably take out the Dugong. And just like really rubbing it in with that Surf as well. Just going straight Shadow Ball.
Just being kind of rude there, but a great team read from Quasar Sucks, knowing the value of that Scrafty and using it to keep alignment in their favor.
So now this final move is going to come out and going to KO the Dugong. It is now all up to the opposing Jellicent, which is going to have a mammoth task against this Mandibuzz. Do you think there's any world in which Jellicent can KO a Mandibuzz with a shield?
Maybe at the far end of the multiverse, this might have some possibility of winning, but with no shields, I mean, we saw how much damage that first Dark Pulse did going unshielded. So really, this Jellicent can throw Surfs all day, but I don't think they are going to stack up anywhere near enough against Quasisuk's Mandibuzz.
I think CO's only hope is if Construction Hat off, Oshawott built him a win con. Other than that,
if you'll just sign right here, sir.
you'll have your win con by next week.
Yeah, you'll clearly see that your win con is to be delivered. Sometime in the future, but not today, unfortunately. COV's
so Quasisuk's getting another point back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like we saw in the last matchup, it's like SoCal Swablu was like, all right, you gotta focus and hone in. And now some great team reads by Quasi have put them in a very, very strong position with these battles.
And there is still one more battle to go in this match. So we'll see whether they can bring it back to a 4-5 result. We see CO has led with that Dugong all 3 battles, which is really interesting. Unfortunately, not the best matchup for it in the Jellicent. We'll see how CO wants to play this one out.
Yeah, I mean, going straight for the drill runs means you are chipping away more, more damage, but, it means that you're not debuffing the attack of this Jellicent, which is going to be able to throw Shadow Ball after Shadow Ball right back at you. And they have that same type attack bonus, whereas your drill run does not.
Yeah, we see in the backline on CO's side, we've got those same 2 Pokemon in the Mandibuzz and the Jellicent. I'm going to assume that Quasisuk's has the Mandibuzz in their backline as well. So I think Switch is kind of vital here.
Yeah, and I think that Quasisuk's knows that, giving up the first shield to protect this Jellicent and get a little bit of extra energy before throwing this next Shadow Ball.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. We'll see how Quasisuk's plays this out. It's going to be the Mandibuzz coming in and just getting a bit more, a bit of energy, just kind of building up a little bit more before the Dark Pulse KOs it.
I mean, we've seen this matchup before, and the fact that Quasisuk's is staying in here, I mean, I think is really telling probably to CO as a beast, that that they are weak in the back to this very familiar backline at this point of Mandibuzz and Jellicent.
We'll go on the Aerial Ace, the lower damage move. I believe that Jellicent was a low enough HP to get rid of it. Perfect. And now here comes, we finally get that answer. It is a Charm Alolan Ninetales. The Aerial Ace isn't going to do that much damage. Dark Pulse certainly wouldn't do that much damage to it either.
Yeah, another great team read from Quasisuk's there, bringing in that Charm Alolan Ninetales to really put some fast attack damage onto this very bulky backline that quote CO Zabees has relied on very heavily. But CO Zabees does still have both shields in play, and now even though he's stuck in this terrible matchup against Mandibuzz, does have shields to hide behind, so he can start stacking up damage. And maybe this is that universe where a win con exists for this Jellicent in this matchup.
Well, here's hoping. We'd love to see a massive comeback. We see Surf after Surf coming in. Construction Hat Oshawott wants to see those permits for all those Surfs.
Yeah. It's like all the paperwork is in order, I promise you.
Yeah. This is a no surf zone.
Yeah.
This place is zoned for not zoned for surfing.
Yeah. But Jellicent is still gonna try throwing up the second shield now to protect the next Surf that is incoming. Because I mean, both of these Pokemon. A nice catch there from CO as a beast. Presumably an Aerial Ace onto this. No, actually getting the Dark Pulse onto his own Mandibuzz, and this one has energy. But another catch from Quasisuk's of this Aerial Ace onto that Charm Alolan Ninetales, which is not going to get too much extra energy from that single charm landing on that Mandibuzz. And CO as a beast is unfortunately out of shields, and though charm takes a while, it does get to this charged attack finally. The Psyshock lands and almost takes out the Jellicent. One more charm will do it.
So that was just a demolition, appropriately considering, seeing as we had a construction worker in the stream.
True.
That was a
It was all
demolition.
approved. It was all approved, permitted properly. Oshawott was there to oversee the entire production. So yeah, I think that both of those players, Quasisux and CO is a beast, relying on very bulky backlines. But I think Quasisux just had kind of a little bit of the team reading advantage there.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that Dugong lead was the right play for CO as a beast in all three of those battles, because it appears to me that Quasisux was able to use that pretty well to their advantage in maintaining the right alignment in the backline.
Yeah, I mean, the Dugong in the lead is never really a bad choice, since you do have the option of throwing that, drill run for the attack damage, or the Icy Wind for the attack debuff on your opponent. So it's never a bad idea, but when you only have 3 games, showing that hand all 3 times really does lead your opponent to up their ante with their own team building.
So, with 3 matches down, we are now at a score of 4-5. Antimatter's way. Game is back on.
Yeah, so close after such a dominant showing from Antimatter in the beginning. But I mean, all the players really understanding their Pokemon well in these matchups and playing them very effectively. I mean, even in that line that we just saw where we had, Mandibuzz on Jellicent, and it's a slow end game. We saw them managing their energy and making the appropriate swaps and catches, which makes these games, even if slow, very interesting.
So there is 6 points left to be had in this game. Let's check out the next matchup. We have Flying Pizza versus Ilex Forest, and we see
Pidgeot! It's a bird! I see it!
Tell me more about Pidgeot, Kaz.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if this one is also going with Aerial Ace or rocking that Feather Dance to do the double attack debuff. And I also see over on Ilex Forest the Whimsicott, which is a really interesting pick now that it has access to Fairy Wind and can access its very strong charged attacks very quickly.
I actually really like Whimsicott and Defense Deoxys as a core. Early on this season, I was using that as a core to pretty good effect with Lickitung as a pivot.
Yeah, Whimsicott can be an incredibly strong core breaker when you look at some of the dominant meta picks like Medicham, like Swampert, those sorts of things. So, and it can even hit back against flying types like Pidgeot with that Moonblast. So I think it's a really strong pick, and I do see a lot of super effective potential against Flying Pizza's team.
One more thing I will call attention to is the Miltank on Flying Pizza's side, which has some optionality. It's got Rollout or Tackle, which are both viable fast moves, but then as charge moves, you've got your standard Body Slam, but then you've got the choice of Ice Beam or Thunderbolt.
Yeah, and I do think that Thunderbolt, and Ice Beam, whatever they pick has a lot of potential play over against Ilex Forest. So a really nice eye you have there for that Miltank.
All right, let's get into the battle. I'm very keen to see how Flying Pizza does without the Umbreon, which I know that he loves so much. Let's see how these battles go.
Exactly. So in this first matchup, I wonder who we're going to see in the lead. And we do see that Pidgeot immediately come out against the Umbreon from Ilex Forest. Oh no. And we do see that this Pidgeot, I believe it has Brave Bird and
Dance.
The Feather Dance, yeah.
Ilex Forest also going for that Psychic, which we saw earlier in the day. I forgot who it was, who had the Umbreon, and I was running Psychic against it, managed to land one against the Shadow Poliwrath, which was amazing. So Ilex Forest doing the same thing. The Pidgeot will be throwing its first move, which is going to be the Brave Bird. Will it be a Brave Bird and dip? It sure is, and out comes the Tackle Miltank.
Ooh, Yeah, interesting. And we do see that the Umbreon now has the foul play ready for this Miltank, but Miltank being quite a Pokemon, a bulky Pokemon itself, does not have to throw up the first shield, and will face this Deoxys defense form. And we do see this Miltank has the Body Slam and the Ice Beam. So both of these going to be able to do some stack some pretty good neutral chip damage against this Deoxys defense form.
The first Body Slam will come out, and it's already at a second one. That Deoxys building up as much energy as it can before throwing its move, but Miltank isn't done yet. She's going to throw one more Body Slam before the either the counters do the rest of their work, or we get the charge move coming through. No! Oh no! What a calm down! Miltank is a tanky girl.
Oh my gosh!
Trying to go for that. Trying to go for that counter calm down.
Able to hold on through all of those counters. I mean, just like we were talking about in the matchup earlier, Deoxys defense form is, a pseudo fighting type in that it has that counter, but it just doesn't stack up as much damage as actual fighting types. And so yes, Miltank able to survive, and now giving the Umbreon from Ilex Forest a little bit of extra energy so that it can chip and dip. And now we see a Swampert face off, but one of these Swampert is different from the others.
Yeah, but I think more important than the shadow versus non-shadow difference is the energy difference between the two. We see Ilex Forest has so much more energy right now than what Flying Pizza does. Is going to throw that. So either way, a Hydro Cannon will KO. I think maybe the regular Swampert might have just enough HP to survive a Hydro Cannon, but it will be very, very close.
Yeah, I do think that, we will see a shield come up from Ilex Forest to protect all of that energy that they have gained, but Flying Pizza now is giving their last shield in return. And I do think that the Shadow does win the CMP, and now we see the Flying Pizza Shadow Swampert able to get to that next Hydro Cannon, which I think at this health range might just be enough from the Shadow. No, just barely. Not. And now the non-Shadow Swampert from Ilex Forest able to get to the next Hydro Cannon, which will definitely be enough to take out the Shadow Swampert from Flying Pizza.
So Umbreon's just going to get straight in there. It's going to have to try and get to a move before it can be either farmed down or the move comes out. It is the,
but even if
wing
it
attacks
got
that will farm it down.
But even if it got to the move, that Pidgeot was so healthy. It definitely would have been able to take either a Foul Play or a Psychic from that Umbreon. It would have had to get to multiple ones. And so that Brave Bird and Dip in the beginning, leaving that Pidgeot with so much health, was a great play from Flying Pizza.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe the way this has gone so far is that Antimatter won the first 5 points of the game, but now SoCal Swablu has won the next 5. So this is a heck of a comeback, and let's see if they can keep it going now and hit the lead with this Miltank into Whimsicott matchup. Now, I don't think that Ilex Forest has seen the Ice Beam yet. So
we didn't see the Ice Beam actually. Yeah, we didn't see the Ice Beam actually come out in that first matchup. But Whimsicott, sensing that potential there, actually, Ilex Forest swaps out the Whimsicott for their Umbreon, which can now take the the damage that's stacked up from this very spammy Miltank.
Those body slams are going to be coming out pretty fast, but we know how tanky Umbreon is, so it's going to take those body slams like a champ. It's just going to Miltank's just going to slam and then roll off helplessly.
just sort of roll it all over.
Yeah.
But look at that energy that the Miltank already has, and the tackle damage stacking up way more than the rollout attack would. So now able to throw, body slam on body slam. But the Umbreon also has a lot of energy of its own, able to throw another foul play now, which is still not enough to take out the Miltank.
Oh. That's disgusting. So
I'm having Whitney flashbacks, everybody.
Wow, so that was incredible. Like, I was thinking with the Pidgeot in the back.
It still survives with enough HP to let the Whimsicott get a couple extra fairy wins in, and now will throw the Moonblast against this Pidgeot. I mean, we do see a shield come up, but even Pidgeot would be able to survive this first one. Do we see a debuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
All right, so yeah, this is the really tough thing with a Feather Dance
Mhm.
Pidgeot is that if you swap in against it, it can Feather Dance and dip no matter what you are bringing in. So now that G-Fisk is going to just like not be able to deal much damage at all. It's just going to take these grass knots and not deal much damage back with the earthquakes. Let's see how much this actually
Yeah.
does do. Flying Pizza,
Oh
no
my
shielding.
god.
Look at that.
Oh
That
my
was an
god.
earthquake
That was
hurricane,
a
Kaz.
a pitiful amount of damage from a super effective, like, earthquake there. Oh my gosh. And we see that the Cresselia already has a grass knot. I mean, this Stunfisk is going to do its best to protect all this energy, but it has quite an uphill battle if it wants to stay in to face the Pidgeot, which is where it wants to be, but I'm not sure it's going to be able to get there.
And so you know what Ilex Forest is doing now? I think this is what they're doing, is they're going to just throw these rock slides to try and burn that switch clock as fast as possible. They're going to try and preserve as much HP as they can and then switch out into the Whimsicott. Oh, unfortunately, that's going to hurt that charge move priority situation, meaning that switch clock might get realigned again. So when the Whimsicott comes back in, it'll only be able to get one fast move in before that Pidgeot comes back in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a nice way to play the timer there from Ilex Forest, but unfortunately, it's just not misaligned enough so that when the Whimsicott comes back in, yes, the Pidgeot is right there to meet it. And that Moonblast does go shielded from Flying Pizza's Pidgeot, but now you can easily get this Whimsicott out of the way and save some energy for getting another debuff onto this Galarian Stunfisk. Oh my gosh.
So the Feather Dance is going to hit onto that GPS. That was a Brave Bird? Wow!
Brave Bird. Oh my gosh! And that is enough to knock out the Galarian Stunfisk. Oh my gosh, what a great play from Flying Pizza, knowing that they were going to reserve that last shield and just going straight for broke.
Yeah, that's that just made a very long end game much quicker. Like,
he's like, you know what? I can save us all some time here.
Yeah, he's got construction hat Oshawott breathing down his neck. He's like, he has to get this done by 5 o'clock.
The permits, sir.
Yeah.
you gotta get out of here.
All right, now Miltank is coming in for round 2 against Deoxys. Deoxys is going to appreciate the fact that both Pokemon are on full HP, and I don't think Ilex Forest is going to make that same mistake of not throwing any of that energy, trying to go for the farm down. I think maybe Miltank had some berries, was just like recovering some of that energy between counters. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in the last match we had the swap in, right? So Deoxys Defense Form wanted to try and get some extra energy and come out of that matchup with energy, but unfortunately, the tankiness of Miltank just said, no, not today. But in the lead, I do think that Ilex Forest is going for the smarter play of just throwing that energy as soon as it's available. Getting this Miltank out of the way means a safer, faster experience for the entire backline.
I did have to spend a shield to do so, though, so let's see how that affects the battle. We do get another Psycho Boost. It is a double attack dropped Psycho Boost, so even the Shadow Swampert can tank this fairly comfortably. We'll see the... Oh, man. Surely you can't go for a calm down. You can't go for a calm down. No. Okay, so nice timing, though, from Flying Pizza, throwing that Hydro Cannon just as the Deoxys was getting to that Psycho Boost, that extra Psycho Boost, so unable to throw that energy. And, of course, Ilex Forest is not going to shield and get the move off because it's just going to do so little damage anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a great play there from Flying Pizza, throwing before they could get to that next Psycho Boost, and getting some extra energy onto the Shadow Swampert in the process. But unfortunately, being met by the Umbreon here means that, I mean, it's one of the Pokemon in the meta that can more healthily tank these Hydro Cannons from a Shadow Swampert.
I dearly wish that Ilex Forest had Whimsicott in the back here, because I would so love to see it getting sludge waved by
that would be a sight. Yeah, that would be a sight to behold, but unfortunately we do see a Charizard in the back from Ilex Forest, which now has to shield this next Hydro Cannon from the Shadow Swampert, but Shadow Swampert able to get to another one before the
Oh,
Charizard can throw a move, and from a Shadow Swampert, I do believe this is enough to
oh,
KO. Oh my gosh.
oh, that was hectic. Like that, just one more wing attack would have KO'd that thing. Luckily
Yeah.
for Flying Pizza, that Pidgeot is still on full health, and so this Umbreon isn't going to present much of a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Even though there is a shield in play for the Pidgeot, it doesn't really need it. There are no more shields left in play for Ilex Forest, so this Umbreon goes down to a Brave Bird. Doesn't even a Feather Dance probably would have done it, but he's like, you know what? Why not? Why not splurge?
No, I would have loved to see if, like, because in the last battle, Brave Bird, the G-Fist to take it out, I would have loved if they just, like, dragged this one out and Feather Danced the Umbreon this time. Just to be like, whatever you think I'm going to do, that's what I'm not going to do.
That's exactly the opposite of what I'm going to do. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Excuse me, I have permits to sign over here with Oshawott.
Yeah.
So yes, Flying Pizza brings back some more points for SoCal Swablu, now putting them in the lead 7-5 for Antimatter. The spicy picks over there for Flying Pizza actually coming in quite clutch. That Miltank, I mean, like I said, it gave me Whitney flashbacks with how much energy and health had in these matchups. I didn't even think it would survive against that Deoxys farm down, and yet here we are.
This is a complete side note, complete tangent. But my tactic that I eventually figured out against Whitney was before you take her on, you go north to the national park, and you find the TM for Dig.
Oh my god!
And you teach that to one of your Pokemon, and like whenever rollout misses, the damage resets. So if I just kept digging, like it couldn't get up that damage that it needed. So that was that momentum.
New series idea, Pokemon hacks with fish.
That's it. That's my one.
That's just the one.
It's a very short series.
On repeat.
Yeah. We didn't get council approval for build the rest of the series.
Okay. Oshawott permits not signed. So onward we go into I believe our final matchup between these two teams, and so we do see we have Dodger 22 fan against EV2E.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm going to be rooting for Eevee because I'm a Red Sox fan. So totally other side of the country.
Get you and your sports ball references. Get out. I also though do have to shout out EV2E because they do have Pelipper on their team, and that's another favorite bird pick of mine. With the quick access to Weather Ball and the hard-hitting move of Hurricane, when you get it in the right position, it can do super effective damage against a lot of the meta.
I'm actually really liking that Nidorina. So Nidorina is a Pokemon that has to be a hundo to get up to a Great League viable CP, and it's got some really interesting moves in the Poison Sting, and I know during the Halloween Cup it was running Dig and Thunderbolt. I believe it also knows Poison Fang as well for some bait potential.
Interesting. I mean, I would be really excited to see that middle evolution come out to play because I only saw, I think, 1 or 2 during Halloween Cup, and I was like, what?
Why? You just thought it was a tiny Nidoqueen.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, is that like the world's smallest Nidoqueen? No? Okay, right. And then on Dodgers 22 side over there, I like the Gliscor actually. That's a really interesting pick. Gligar's been getting a lot of the attention lately because of the meta update, but Gliscor still has a great moveset with access to Wing Attack as its fast attack and the Earthquake in its charge attack pool.
Also has Aerial Ace as well, and I think with that moveset, it presents a genuine threat to, I think, everything except the Pelipper on Eevee's side. So I think I'm expecting a fair bit of Gliscor on Dodger's side.
I really do hope we see it because if as long as you can keep it away from the Pelipper, it has a really strong potential against that entire team. But we do also see the Charjabug coming back to play now for SoCal. So
The beep beep bug bus is back.
Beep beep.
And out of my way.
Out of my way. I'm coming
Driving through the
through.
construction site.
Yeah, I've got the permits.
That's our word of the day. Hashtag permits.
Exactly.
I got
Hashtag
the
permits. Hashtag
All right.
construction hat Oshawott win.
All right, let's get into the battles. This is the final set. So SoCal Swab is up 2 points, 7-5, and we are
do get
being
the Oshawott
overseen by the supervisor.
And we do see those permits carried by the Charger Bug against the double from Eevee to Eevee's side. This double is actually
That's
running
tackle.
tackle and
What?
not the double kick that we're so used to seeing on this Pokemon.
Oh, I'm so excited to see how that affects things. So that decreases the damage it can do against the Alolan Sandslash, which is a big one. But I guess
Yeah.
Eevee does have a fair amount of play against the Alolan Sandslash anyway, so maybe not relying on it as much. So we'll see
Yeah. I do think the tackle is probably a better play here because you're able to actually get some neutral damage in against this Charjabug. And we do see the first shield now coming up to protect all of that energy that we
Ooh.
see before swapping out to the Pelipper. Oh my gosh, what?
Yeah, so Eevee is actually double weak in the back to that Charger Bug. So I think throwing out the better Pokemon here, I mean, it's better than the Buzzwole against Azumarill, and it's also the weaker one against the Charger Bug. So it's kind of a win-win. I think Pelipper is the right option here.
Yeah, I think that Pelipper doing all of this neutral damage against the Azumarill, I mean, that Hurricane, even though Azumarill is so tanky, it does so much. And it's a good call to go straight for it because Azumarills often are not going to shield. You know, they're relying on that bulk. So going straight for that Hurricane, a great call from EV2E.
So the double did come out with a lot of energy. I didn't see whether it got up to that payback or whether it was like one tackle short.
It left
did
with
get
a
to
payback ready, yeah. And
Okay, so that can come in handy.
That is definitely an option for the end game, and we do see the Buzzwole come in. Oh my gosh! And then a quick swap into the double to meet the Gliscor that would absolutely destroy that Buzzwole, and the last shield coming up to protect that Gliscor. And now, can we get to the payback? No! Oh, that is so terrible for EV2E because now, even with a shield, this Buzzwole just cannot do anything to this Gliscor.
Yeah, look at that. One Aerial Ace takes it out. And so if they'd gotten that payback off, that was amazing work with the bait, the body slam bait. If they had gotten that payback off, that would have put them in range, I think, for a superpower. So that could have flipped it for Eevee's side. Unfortunately, not to be. Dodgers fan will take out the final Pokemon, putting that final point on the board for SoCal Swablu. And after such a hot start for Antimatter, SoCal has just come on through with their permits and their buses, and they have sealed the deal. Let's move on to the next battles.
Yes. Yeah, so so double actually, being on that tackle, getting that little bit of extra, not just stab, neutral damage against most Pokemon, can actually get it to that payback against the Trevenant even. Even though it's not, even though the normal type attack is not doing any damage, like it makes it, able to get to that charge attack even faster.
All right, so in this next battle, we've got the Spark Probopass against the Powder Snow Alolan Sandslash. Now, the Drill Run will absolutely KO the Probopass, which is why Eevee's not staying in there. They are getting straight out into that Buzzwole. I'm expecting to see a Gliscor in return, but not straight away. That is what? That is poison jab.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Buzzwole.
you're talking about a matchup that I think the wrong part of the matchup here. The fact of the matter is we are facing a poison jab Buzzwole, which can do even less against the Gliscor, which now does come in from Dodgers fan and able to get one wing attack off before being met with the Pelipper, which is arguably the one Pokemon that it does not want to see.
That's got to be an I ran out of TM situation. Like, what are you getting from Poison Jab here? Slightly improved
I
against Pelipper.
mean, yeah, Azu,
Oh yeah, that's
neutral
right. Yeah,
damage.
I'm looking for the wrong sites here.
Some Pelipper
Trevenant.
neutral
Yeah.
damage.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you know what? I think my mistake was I was looking at Eevee's side, and I got it mixed up. So yeah, against
Yeah.
Dodge's side, there is a couple of matchups that Poison Jab is a little better, but my
Yeah.
goodness.
But now this Pelipper has gotten into a situation where it has tons of extra energy, running a bit low on health, but absolutely and getting out of the matchup quick as possible because Charge Bug lurking in the back from Dodgers fan now comes in and is met with the extra energy from this Probo Pass.
But now the Alolan Sandslash is going to come back in, and it does have a bit of energy. One single drill run will KO the Probo Pass, so that Probo Pass throwing up one shield. It's going to have to try and get enough rock slides off to KO before the drill runs can do it.
Yeah, this being a Shadow Alolan Sandslash, I mean, I do think that 2 rock slides is probably going to be enough. I'm not sure if one is, entirely enough. But both players do have shields to hide behind, so I do believe we're going to see both of those go up in this matchup. And the second one, yes, coming out from EV2E to protect all of the energy onto this Probo Pass. But the Sandslash has another move ready. Oh my gosh! And this drill run.
Match up with a lot of energy as well. So Eevee tried Eevee tried to catch the first drill run. That wasn't to be, so it just banked that drill run and swapped out itself and was able to come back in. It already had a drill run to bring out, and so that Pelipper's going to come out and is going to try. Okay. So the
Pelipper doing its absolute best in a bad situation, but unfortunately, Charge-a-Bug from Dodgers fan does have a shield to hide behind, so one Volt Switch does it, taking Pelipper off the field and securing another point for SoCal.
Wow, so SoCal just unstoppable at the moment, and there's still there is still one more battle to be played. Let's see if Dodger fan can make it 10 battles in a row for SoCal Swablu.
Oh my gosh, it's like they saw the 5 points go out the window initially, and we're like, well, we can't let that stand. And they got the permits from Construction Hat Oshawott, and now they are on a clean sweep to victory here. But we do see a nice lead for EV2E Pelipper against the Gliscor. Will we see an immediate swap out? Yes, into that Alolan Sandslash, quickly met by that Poison Jab. Buzzwole, which is actually the situation that it is where it's least likely to be helpful here, but unfortunately still the better answer to this Sandslash.
Luckily Eevee's got that double in the back. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, wait.
So not to be. So that Alolan Sandslash just going to tear through the Buzzwole. It's going to get to, I think that was 2 superpowers, so we'll be able to get 2 shields out of it, which is not nothing. Like, that is something that is helpful for...
Yeah, and will we see...
no!
Not able to get to the second one. Not able to get to the second superpower in time, despite the attack debuff that it got from that initial lunge. And now, even shields, Pelipper comes back in from EV2E, but already met with a charged attack from the Shadow Alolan Sandslash. Will be able to take 1 Ice Punch. Ooh, that is a lot of damage, but now able to stack a little bit of extra energy before throwing the first Weather Ball. I like this play, though.
Yeah, it's back-to-back Weather Balls, which will be enough to KO that Alolan Sandslash. Unfortunately, the Sandslash will get a nice punch off, and Pelipper opting not to shield it, just letting it go, cutting its losses.
Yeah,
so
interesting because they did have the energy there, but just not enough health on Pelipper to survive that matchup. Maybe if they had immediately thrown that Weather Ball instead of waiting for the charge attack priority. But now, yes, putting all of their faith into this tackle Dubwool, which has an uphill battle against the Gliscor.
Yeah, and we see the aerial ace bait as well, so that just makes it even harder once again. We'll see how much an earthquake does to this thing when it comes through. It isn't a shadow Gliscor, so maybe the double can survive. We're about to find out after these messages.
No commercials here, Fish. No break. It does barely survive that earthquake. You are correct. Able to get to another body slam, but this is not enough, I don't think, to take out the 2 remaining Pokemon that are on Dodgers fans' side. Oh my goodness.
Wow, that was a sight to see. 10 points in a row for SoCal Swablu, and just some absolute masterclass action happening.
Yeah, I mean, just the energy management and the swap timing over on SoCal Swablu's side, they really, they really put in the effort to make sure that Antimatter knew they were getting no more points this game.
Avenging their leader, Dre Flames.
No more shall be given. We gave you the first 5 out of common decency, but now
Yeah, they got Gandalf, and Gandalf came in with his staff and said, "You shall not pass."
Exactly.
All right. So, congratulations to SoCal Swablu once again. That was the end of game number 1 for Paradox tonight. I believe we are coming back in a little bit for our next game, which is not one to be missed. Game number 2 is promised to be as hype as what this one was, with a large group of big names, just like we had in the previous one.
Exactly. It's going to be a wonderful time and some incredible matches, to be sure. But unfortunately, I will not be continuing on for that one on the desk. This is it for me. But I look forward to watching and commenting on the YouTube channel and seeing how it plays out between the next 2 teams. It's definitely going to be an exciting one for sure.
Yep, super keen. Thank you for joining me for this one, Hurricane Kaz. It is always an absolute pleasure casting with you.
Yeah, it's been an incredible pleasure. Those were super exciting battles. Even though the points went sort of tip the scale in, way more in one team's favor in the end, all those battles were indeed down to the wire. And I saw some Pokemon move, attack choices that I never thought I would see on a screen. So it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure to experience that with you, Fish.
All right, so we are going to be back very, very soon. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you for match number 2. All right.
Match 2